The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the 4th installment in the series and the only Zelda title on the Game Boy. A color update called Link's Awakening DX is one of the 3 Zelda titles for the Game Boy Color. Since its release, Link's Awakening has been popular among fans and critics. By 2004, the original release had sold almost 4 million copies worldwide, while Link's Awakening DX sold more than 2 million. And in 2009, Guinness World Records named it the 42nd most influential video game of all time. However, this legend of a video game also has a ton of removed and old beta content. And today we're going to take a look at that. Let's start with some items that you were supposed to get from the shop, but were removed. The items are an ocarina, Guardian Acorn, and a secret medicine. They can be sold to you by the shopkeeper by use of a Game Shark or other cheating devices. Buying the ocarina and the secret medicine gives you those respective items, but buying the Guardian Acorn has no effect. None of these items have shopkeeper text or prices coded for them, so you can buy them for free. Now the Acorn can just be found almost anywhere in the game, and are mostly dropped by enemies. So maybe you could buy them and use them later at some point. However, they scrapped that completely. The medicine is sold by Crazy Tracy instead of the shopkeeper, and the ocarina is found in the Dream Shrine. Maybe they placed these items in different locations to make it a bit harder to get them and make the game a bit longer. You can steal items from the shop after all, so you could just steal those items and get them extremely early. And the ocarina is used to warp to all kinds of places after all. So, not a very good item to have in the beginning.
Now, there are also a lot of unused sprites and graphics, and some are actually quite weird. Like this old man. He looks like any old cloaked man from previous Zelda games. It's not known what he was originally meant to be, but his sprites are very similar to those of the Shrouded Stalfos. He later appeared in Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, so clearly he was good enough to be used, but not in this Zelda game. They probably made him to fit him somewhere in the story, but ended up scrapping him. We aren't sure what they had in mind, but clearly he was not good enough for the story of the game. Now, there is also an unused flying enemy, but we're not sure what they wanted to do with it. There are 2 options here. First, it could be an early version of Vir's split form or a Big Keys, and the other one is that it's a completely new enemy. It could be any of the 2, and we aren't sure which one it is, so that one remains a bit of a mystery. Now for our last one, we have a Kirby map marker. This odd-looking Kirby icon appears with the map graphics in the Japanese version, but is never actually used. In later releases, this is replaced in the data with the owl map marker, although owls are still displayed on the map the same way in the Japanese version as they are in later releases. Now, it's really weird that they made one that looks like Kirby, since this is clearly a Zelda game, but maybe they wanted to do it as a reference. They also put in a picture of Peach after all, so maybe they wanted to put in something to reference the Kirby series as well. Or it was a leftover from an early prototype of the game. The game also has some unused rooms, mostly from Canellic Castle, weirdly enough. First up, the underwater room. It empties out into the Canellic Castle moat along a narrow passage north that seems to hold nothing special. It is logical to assume that this room was meant to be found by diving, but either they had troubles programming it in, or replaced the treasure with a heart piece. The chest in the room contains 200 rupees. The enemies here are knights of the same variety as the ones found in Canellic Castle, but their sprites are usually a scrambled mess. Bringing up the map or subscreen usually causes the sprites to correct themselves, but doing so in this room reveals that the enemies seem to be trendy game operators? Since they behave as Canellic knights in every aspect, it's likely that their sprites were once written in the same spot and later removed, with the trendy game operator sprites taking their place. Looking at this, it's almost safe to assume that this room was scrapped rather early in the development. The fact that this was probably meant to be a bonus room, plus the diving issue and having to correct the sprites, was probably just too much effort for too little gain, and they left it out altogether.
Now there is also another unused room that would have been inside the castle itself. This short passageway may have been the original means to get inside. The north exit leads to the stairway under the bush, right on top of it, which is never used for hidden staircases. The exit is usually placed next to it, and the southern exit leads to the castle room with the gate lowering switch, inside of a wall. Interestingly, entering these rooms will usually make the room flash between fully lit and dark states. In the DX version, the palette upon entry is woefully broken, suggesting that the room was overlooked. Maybe a different entrance to the castle that was later on replaced by the one used in the game? Could be possible. The room is not very glitchy. They could have easily solved this. It's just some lighting issues, so they didn't remove it for that reason. They probably wanted to do something else with the entrance and ended up ditching this room and forgetting about it. Believe us, that tends to happen a lot in video games. Everything we have showed off in this video was left behind in the files after all. So as you can see, Link's Awakening has some interesting beta stuff. Parts of it were even changed, and we didn't even mention all the earlier versions of rooms and models, since they did a ton of layout changes and redesigns. You're even looking at some of them right now. So even though things were changed and replaced, the game was still an enormous hit, and overall, a great game. Thanks for watching everybody, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch more videos, click the annotations on the screen right now, and you might want to consider subscribing, because we're going to make more videos. And if you like this one, then you're going to like those most likely as well. So hey, that could be great.